Most men lose the battle before sunrise, and they call it a normal day. Marcus wrote the correction in one severe line: do not wander. With each motion of the mind, with each desire, do what is just, and inspect the appearance before you trust it. That is the labor. A thought enters, a want rises. Before the hand moves, or the tongue answers, judgment must wake. Marcus did not write this in a quiet age. He wrote with cold air pressing through a campaign tent, wax tablet in hand, while reports of mud, fever, and revolt crossed his table. The emperor kept returning to the same task: rule the ruling faculty. He had rank, command, and ceremony around him. Yet the real frontier was inward, where an impression could still make a fool of Caesar. Epictetus taught the same law from a harder station. A lame former slave on a plain stool, speaking to students in a small school, he kept saying that impressions are not the problem. Noise at the door, pain in the leg, insult in the street. The crucial moment comes after arrival. Assent belongs to prohairesis. A person becomes distorted by agreeing too quickly with what first appears. The passage asks for two disciplines at once. First, remain on the path of justice in every movement. Second, reach the natural apprehension of each fancy, each appearance, each mental picture that presents itself. Marcus was warning himself against drift. He knew how easily desire paints over fact. The mind says, I was insulted, I am deprived, I must answer now. The Stoic answer is slower. Examine the claim. In the Roman world, this mattered everywhere. A senator on the bench hears a rumor and turns pale. A commander receives praise and starts believing he is owed more than duty. A husband carries suspicion home from the forum. Marcus knew that empires are damaged by private confusions. Embraced without scrutiny can become policy, vengeance, or cowardice wearing the mask of caution. When he says true natural apprehension, he is asking for a clean first look. Strip away vanity, fear, appetite, and theatrical self-pity. See the thing as it is. Epictetus told his students to say to every harsh appearance, wait for me a little. Let me see who you are. That pause feels Saul. In practice, it is the hinge between a governed life and a scattered one. The common mistake is ancient and ordinary. A man feels an impulse and treats it as an instruction. He desires something and calls it necessity. He is praised and calls himself secure. He is corrected and calls himself injured. This confusion keeps the soul in motion all day, like a cartwheel rattling over stone, loud and directionless, mistaken for progress because it never stops. Another error follows close behind. People think justice is reserved for public matters, courts, contracts, wars, and offices. The Stoa taught otherwise. Justice begins in the smallest exchanges. The tone used with a tired spouse, the fairness of a report, the restraint shown when a servant blunders. Each action trains the faculty that chooses. Character is built in ordinary contact, not in speeches about virtue. Years with this line have made one fact plain to me. Most suffering is increased by the story laid over the event. The event may be hard enough already. Then the mind adds insult, prediction, performance, and grievance. By night, the original thing is almost hidden. Under the lamp, writing slowly, I have often found that the first wound was smaller than the interpretation I fed it. Take a modern room with glass walls and stale air from the vent. A meeting goes badly. Someone dismisses your work in front of others. The impression arrives fully armed. They humiliated me. My standing is damaged. I must strike back. Marcus would ask for 2 checks. What is just now? What precisely happened? Usually the facts are narrower than the heat surrounding them. Or a friend lies. The discovery lands like cold iron in the hand. Trust bends. Anger begins supplying speeches for tomorrow. Seneca, writing on anger, warned how quickly the mind appoints itself judge and executioner. A Stoic reading of the moment does not excuse the lie. It refuses the extra corruption of immediate fury. See the act clearly. Choose the next duty cleanly. Leave theater to children. Consider the long airport corridor, the delay board changing again, the body already tired. The mind says that time has been stolen. It says someone must pay. Epictetus would reduce the scene to its proper size. Weather moved, systems failed. Your wish was ignored by reality. The question returns unchanged. What belongs to your control in this hour? Conduct, speech, the use of waiting, that is all. This week begin with a narrow exercise. Each morning before the house fully stirs, sit with a page and draw 2 short columns. On one side write, under my control. On the other outside it. Use one problem only, 5 minutes. Then act from the first column for the rest of the day. This is the dichotomy of control made visible in ink. A second exercise belongs to the instant of disturbance. When a sharp impression hits, do not answer for one full breath. Feel the ribs lift. Feel the jaw unclench. Then name the appearance in plain words. This is anger. This is vanity. This is fear of being seen as lesser. A named impression loses some of its borrowed authority. It can then be judged instead of obeyed. At night, under a small lamp, take a pen and write 3 lines by hand. Where did desire pull me off the path? Where did I keep to justice? Which impression deceived me first? Seneca recommended an evening accounting. He knew memory gets slippery when left unexamined. A brief record turns vague regret into material for correction. The principle becomes hardest when grief enters the room. A parent declines. A child is ill. The phone call comes late, and the house changes shape around it. No Stoic worthy of the name pretends this is easy. The body tightens. Sleep breaks. Tears come. Justice still asks for its due. Perception still asks to stay clean. Pain is real. Catastrophic storytelling is optional. The trail tests it differently. Public failure does too. A reputation breaks in front of witnesses, and the mind lunges toward revenge or collapse. Here the inner citadel feels less like a grand fortress and more like a single door held shut by tired hands. Yet this is where the discipline proves itself. One honest action, one accurate sentence, one refusal to decorate the wound. Marcus wrote for this exact weakness in human beings. We wander. We grant first impressions the authority of law. We turn appetite into command and fear into prophecy. The correction remains severe and quiet. In every motion, keep to justice. In every appearance, seek the true account. Close the notebook and answer plainly.